Okay, so I've put my email address on the first slide, so if you've got any questions at all afterwards, you will get a copy of these, so you can sort of pick it up from there. Okay, so my first thing about on Maths Hub is a big thank you. Thank you to those of you that are already part of our programme. It's been going now quite a long time. I was very jealous listening to some of the monies around the Computing Hub, but I'm sure that when Maths Hub started, there was probably similar incentives. We've been going since about 2016, so now it's all about KPIs. If you remember, we've had a lot of DFE sort of work. We've actually had the Key Stage 1 and 2 guidance that came out in 2020, and then we've also had the Mastering Number programme. So the DFE have very kindly said that by 2025, the new KPI is that 75% of primary schools will have been trained by the Hub in Teaching for Mastery. So it's a big ask, but it is there. This year for secondary, we had the Key Stage 3 guidance, which came out in September. Helpful, being said we started teaching in September. We also have the checkpoints that have been coming out all year. And so to go along with all this money that has been sort of put into Maths Hub, we now have our 2025 KPI of 65%. So it's a very large ask, but, you know, we're well on our way. I think as an area, as a region, we have done really well, and we have been well supported by the schools going through the programme. So I wanted to give you that as just as a baseline, really, so that you can understand why Ofsted keep asking questions about mastery, and, you know, obviously there's a massive amount of money being put into it. So hopefully, you know, you can see where that's coming from. Okay, most of the people represented here today, I imagine, have already had members of staff through this programme. But again, just to sort of reiterate, on the actual Teaching for Mastery journey, which are these percentages are attached to, this is where schools go through readiness, developing, embedding, and finally sustaining. Now, there is an expectation that because you've been funded through the programme, that you stay with sustaining. So it's almost like it never ends. You don't have to send out any of the teachers that were part of the original training, because by now it should be either school-wide or secondary department-wide. So we will be asking some questions, I guess, if you've been in the programme and maybe you're not attending sustaining, because that is also something that there's a big push that we as Maths Hub go back to schools and say, oh, you know, we'd really like to be part of this. And obviously, if you have dropped off, there could be good reasons, such as COVID, but actually maybe we're not putting on what you need. So that is something that we're very much looking at to make sure that we get that right. But that is the journey anyway. And if you've not been involved in any of it at all, I will be surprised, but please get in contact with me. Okay, leadership opportunities. Say you've got that member of staff who thinks that there's maybe nothing for them and you think they're brilliant and you want to keep them. We'll get them involved. We've actually got a window open at the moment to train for specialists at primary and secondary. I've seen Nicole is here. Nicole Winfield is one of our specialists, so it's nice to see that, but we would like more, and we'll be looking for people to join the team. So it's NCETM who you apply through. I've put all the links on the final slide, but there's a deadline of the 20th of May. Head teachers, don't panic. They cannot apply without you formally signing something. So don't worry if you think, oh, somebody's gone ahead and done something. You need to be in on this. But it's a great opportunity and it's a great way of keeping people. So, you know, do think about that. Another opportunity is where you maybe have a member of staff who is working across more than your own school in maths, obviously. We have something called the School Development Lead Programme, which started this year. It's been very successful. It's absolutely full of EEF stuff. I was listening to Amy there thinking, yep, we tick all them boxes, which is great. But anybody primary or secondary that is working across more than their own school, that is a brilliant opportunity there. And finally, the professional development lead program. It is for primary and secondary, but also in particular, we're always looking for people for early years or post 16. And again, everything Amy was talking about a minute ago is all involved in that program, and we're very much linked up with the EEF. So applications for those particular programs close on the 20th of May, and you don't apply through the hub. Okay. Subject knowledge enhancement. This, I love maths, why wouldn't I? But not everybody does, and not everybody's very confident with it. So if you have people who you think would really benefit from a little bit more subject knowledge input, then we've got a range of work groups, we call them. We call them work groups because they're not courses. They are continual professional development opportunities where there are tasks to do at the end of every session back in school. And I think that's really important. So it doesn't finish with, it was a great lunch, thank you, see you next time. Actually, there is always something to do back in school between times, and that really enhances the learning. And we have got opportunities, as you can see there, you can all read. However, I'll just explain the early career teachers. Those that have been in the system this year are entitled to a second year, and those new early career teachers will actually join year one of the training this year. We also have at secondary the non-specialist teachers of maths, and that's slightly longer. It's 6 sessions, and that is for those teachers who naively wrote on their application form that they got A-level maths. And they're probably not maths teachers, they're teaching anything across the curriculum, and then they find themselves with a year 7 or 8 class. So actually that's a really, really valuable subject knowledge enhancement to be part of. And finally, these are the last opportunities. There's lots of opportunities. Mastering number was new this year. If you've been involved with it, it had amazing teething problems because they tried to get it out too quickly. However, there will be another cohort next year, but then I believe that will be it. And that is the work that is aimed at reception year 1 and year 2 as part of the COVID catch-up. Whether you get your free Reckon Recs this year, I'm not totally sure. I think the DFA are being tight, giving it all to computing. Year 5 to 8 continuity, that is a brilliant opportunity for you to work with your transition schools. It works best if we get the secondary and then 3 or 4 primaries that feed into it. But it's a great opportunity to really dig down in the maths curriculum and to look at exactly what is happening in primary and then what is happening in secondary, and to marry the two far better. Mathematical thinking for GCSE is about problem solving. Children, for some reason, they go off. 7 to 11 coherence is basically about the curriculum, and it's about making sure that there is a coherent curriculum from 7 to 11. And then ones that have been going around a while, A-level pedagogy, we've been running for quite a while, but it does continue to be refreshed. And we pick up any schools that are new to teaching A-level core. We sort of put the training on for them. And then this year we had secondary subject leadership as a new one, and that has been really well attended. We've had about 12 different schools coming out. I realised that that is a big ask, particularly this year. But we have insisted that they come out so that they don't get the subject leaders. If you are really giving proper time over to this, you do not want to be interrupted in school. And so and that has been brilliant, and we're looking forward to carrying on with that next year. So absolutely loads from Maths Hub. What there is on this slide here for you is all the links to NCETM, and then the bottom one is for any of the others. If you just fill in an expression of interest form, then we'll get back to you. And if you've got any questions at all, just email me and I'll follow that up. So thank you very much for your time, Tam.
Thank you so much. There is such a breadth, and I like not just the full range of CPD, and it was really nice that you started off with the DFE vision about, you know, how they're wanting this funding that's coming through from national level to be real intrinsic support for schools through the system, through the school-led system, to ensure that all schools are mobilised in being able to teach maths using the best evidence base around the most effective strategies. And it was really lovely to have both the, again, if you've got your teachers that need that subject knowledge enhancement, as you put it, we used to be covered under the old TSSTs and non-specialists, and it's now lovely to see it in the maths hub where that real specialism can be supported, particularly for schools who are struggling to recruit maths teachers. Maybe that, you know, really building and growing capacity within other non-specialists, that's a real funded support mechanism through to that, who are your shining lights who you want to retain, there's leadership opportunities. So it was really nice, much like the computing capacity, that breadth of schools who are on a journey and either at a starting point of evaluating where they are, all the way through to retaining their best staff. So thank you so much. Colleagues, if you've got a question, I'm going to whittle away for a few more seconds to just capture any possible questions. But otherwise, to reassure you, these videos will be also on our YouTube channel. So if you do want to share it with any colleagues, so say if you've come here as a CPD lead or as a head teacher, you think actually it'd be really nice to disseminate this to colleagues in our schools, you can send the link through. Lovely. I think that means that there's no questions in the chat. Christine, thank you so much for coming along this evening, but also allowing us to share it on our YouTube channels for colleagues who weren't able to make with us due to other commitments, but want the content being shared. We can share that with them. So thank you. Thank you. Lovely. So I'm going to stop the recording there, and